third take of the story, My First Kiss by Feliza Butin. I mean, scratch that. Lizzie. She doesn't like to be called by her real name because she's weird.
Feliza.
Okay, anyways, here it goes.
So weird how you say that.
My first kiss was anything but romantic, sweet, or dreamy. It happened one day during my senior year of high school. The day started out with the usual hustle and bustle associated with being a young teenage girl navigating the choppy waters of high school. I was unable to focus on a single thought as I washed up, brushed my teeth, and got myself ready for the day. That's how she is. I'm just giving you a picture. The fact that this was one of the chilliest days I've ever experienced in Hawaii should have been an ominous sign that something weird was going to happen before it was over. As this crazy day grew older, I spotted a familiar friend walking towards me as if he was on a runway. I smiled at him politely as he came closer. In his flamboyantly signature style, he said, "Hey girl, how you been?" I replied as I was fine. Oh, you was fine. Excuse me, I'm reading a story. I replied I was fine as he grabbed my hand and pulled me towards the bench.
Oh.
I tried not to stumble as I struggled, idiot. I struggled to keep up with his gait. His hips swaying behind him as if he were Beyonce. She got a big booty. When we
Big
reached the
booty.
bench, he told me to sit and pulled me down with him. He looked at me, smiled, and said, "OMG, I saw the sexiest guy I have ever seen." I was very surprised because he was normally very critical of the guys that most girls considered
Touching
handsome.
her uki.
Now, I was intrigued and I really wanted to know who this sexy guy was. He continued, "Girl, I just couldn't help myself, so I strutted up
She's
to
holding
him
my hand.
and did this." Stop! Get out of this thing! Annoying. I was listening very closely, wondering if I had seen this person before, when suddenly and unexpectedly,
Pinch.
he pulled me towards him and kissed me forcefully. With his tongue in my mouth, I forced him off of me and screamed, "What the heck was that?" He looked at me confused, explaining how he wanted to show me exactly what he had done and how he had did it. I was so shocked, feeling as if my mouth dropped to the floor. He looked at me and said, "It's not like you never kissed anyone before." I looked down, feeling shame, and wished that statement had been true. All he could do was sit there and laugh. After that incident, all I wanted to do was forget it ever happened when suddenly my crush came along and motioned me to come over as if he were ecstatic.
I'm recording it.
He told me a story I had heard earlier that day. He told me how my familiar friend had made out with him. He stood there with a big smile on his face, while I stood there motionlessly hearing the same story once more, this time from my longtime crush. While I stood there motionlessly hearing the same story, oh my gosh, I read that already. I felt so much unbelief, knowing how masculine he was. Nothing to suspect about him ever being gay. Sad. He had a very deep voice, was a perfect gentleman, and was very slick with girls. I felt as if I were on the show Punk, just waiting for Ashton Kutcher to pop out and say, "You just got punked." I shook my head at all the irony I had experienced in just that one day alone. I couldn't believe my first kiss had been stolen from my gay friend, who kissed my longtime crush, who was gay. Unfortunately, that was my first kiss. I wish that day never happened
Again.
What?
Word.
Um. Okay. That would be awkward.
For real, for real. So that concludes to my first kiss essay.
Peace out.